Now, I'm not a happy man right now, and this is because my favorite fighter in the UFC today, Khamzat Chimaev, has gone missing. Now, don't get too freaked out. Not dead or anything crazy like that. However, we have no news on Khamzat Chimaev, Dricus Du Plessis, or anything regarding the next middleweight UFC championship fight. Now, we all know back in February that Dricus Du Plessis defended his championship against Sean Strickland at UFC 312, and it was a boring card. And what made it worse is the main event was twice as boring as we thought it would be going into it. We had Sean Strickland fighting through a staph infection, and he was just the most passive fighter we've ever seen, ever in the sport of UFC, besides that Israel Adesanya versus Yoel Romero fight. But Dricus Du Plessis continues to look better and better and just keeps winning every single fight. He's on a crazy win streak right now. And we know that Khamzat Chimaev is still undefeated in the UFC. He's at 13 or 14-0 right now. However, he has not fought Abu Dhabi for that matter. However, with the current man in charge of the country being a great friend to Dana White, I'm sure that Khamzat Chimaev will be able to fight in the United States no problem at all. But still, this begs the question. It has been 3 months since Dricus Du Plessis defended his championship against Sean Strickland. Khamzat Chimaev, who we know is the #1 contender, fought 6 months before that in October, and
1 eternity later.
We still have no mention of what the next fight is or when it's going to be. And this is very weird because we all believe that Khamzat Chimaev is the #1 contender in the middleweight division. He certainly deserves it, and I definitely think that he is. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys think he should fight for the belt next too. However, we have no fight announcement saying that Khamzat Chimaev is going to be fighting Dricus Du Plessis when or where. We don't even have a hint of when this fight's going to be. I've looked all over X, I've looked all over the internet, all over YouTube. I can't find any confirmed news of Khamzat Chimaev having an up-and-coming fight for the middleweight championship against Dricus Du Plessis, DDP. So this really makes you wonder, what's going on with Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis? What's the title situation? Why has it not been announced that Khamzat is fighting for the title? Why has there not been an announcement of when this fight's going to be? This is absolutely dragging on right now. You know, we already have immediate rematch news saying that it's likely Alex Pereira is going to be fighting Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 318, I believe it is, in Chicago, and that's going to be the rematch for the light heavyweight championship, and that fight just ended less than a month ago. But Khamzat Chimaev hasn't fought in almost a year, and Dricus Du Plessis hasn't fought in multiple months, and we haven't heard a pip out of either side regarding this. And this matchup is hyped up for so many reasons. Khamzat Chimaev is the most popular prospect up-and-coming contender in the past, I don't know how many years we've had in the UFC. He's been wrecking through the welterweight and middleweight divisions. He looks pretty much unstoppable outside of a Kamaru Usman fight against one of the greatest fighters of all time. But he steamrolls Robert Whittaker after that, who's been a staple at the top of the middleweight division for years now. And every UFC fan around the world is very eager and excited to see this fight, and we are not hearing anything about it, and I am going to be the person to bring up what is going on. Now, based on the fight, we have Khamzat Chimaev, who is an extremely aggressive grappler. I don't need to tell you about Khamzat Chimaev's style. You already know. He's the Mike Tyson of grappling, as Lucas Tracy has called him. This guy is seriously impressive. And then we have Dricus Du Plessis, who has the messiest style of fighting I have ever seen in the UFC, but it continues to win fight after fight, and he just looks like a very well-rounded fighter in the goofiest way possible. So this is literally a clash of plot armor and a clash of unbeatable fighters right now in the UFC, and we have no news about it when this should be one of the biggest fights that the UFC is promoting, and they should be sparking this rivalry and doing everything they can to promote this, because this is a massive fight for the UFC that could sell so many pay-per-views. But let me know what you guys think down below. Where is Khamzat Chimaev? Why has this fight not been announced yet? And who wins? Does Dricus Du Plessis defend his belt against Khamzat Chimaev? Or is Khamzat's wrestling going to be too much for Dricus to handle? With that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. You have a great day. Deuces.